Premier Christy Clark is just months away from a re-election bid. In her year-end interview with CTV's Stephen Andrew, the Premier talks about her expectations for the coming year and what has been her greatest achievement so far. She also addresses one of the most contentious issues of 2012, the Northern Gateway Pipeline project and the company behind it.
So what you've heard from Enbridge so far, does it inspire confidence?
No, it doesn't. And I'm really disappointed in what we've heard at the cross-examinations in the hearings. As you know, we've sent in some of the best lawyers in the country. We've hired former Attorney General Jeff Plant to stick handle the cross-exam. And the answers we've been getting have been really disappointing. They haven't met our expectations. And Enbridge is going to have to do a much, much better job in order to meet the 5 conditions. But it's not just Enbridge. It's the federal government and it's Alberta. They all have a role to play in meeting those 5 conditions. And they're very tough conditions. If those 5 conditions are not met, it's not going ahead. In this job, every day, every single day, every minute of it, there's some distraction pulling you away. There's somebody wanting to talk about the polls, or somebody wanting to talk about a federal issue, or somebody wanting to do this or wanting to do that. If I get distracted by all those other issues, I am not going to be able to do the job that I think British Columbians elected me to do, and that's protect the economy.
And that's obviously what you're going to go into the election next May, repeating again and again and again. If you don't win next May, and I'm sure you're going to say you will, but if you don't win, will you have any regrets?
Of course I'll have regrets. Of course I will. Don't you always have regrets? Even when things go well.
Hamish is getting older now, obviously knows what Mum does, okay, for a living. What do you want him to think about the job you're doing?
There are a lot of things, a lot of lessons that he's been able to learn as a result of watching me do this job. And I think one of the most important ones that he's learned is that it's important to be resilient. That you've got to take criticism and just carry on because you believe in something. And so it was, I think, an important lesson for him. And if there's one gift we can give our kids, aside from all the love that we have for them, it's to make sure that they can be really resilient, that they can go through the ups and the downs inevitably of life, that they can take criticism. And I want him to be the kind of person who's always going to stand up for the things that he feels in his heart, that he's going to stand up for the underdog when time's tough. He's going to stand up for that kid who gets bullied and beat up, and when he's the only one who's willing to do it. That's the kind of person I want him to be.
And the final question, Christy Clark's major achievement as Premier is what, as of today? As
of today, it is making sure that we are continuing to create jobs for people. I don't think there is a more important thing that any government can do. And you know, government, it's sort of shorthand, because government doesn't create jobs, but we have a very powerful influence on whether the private sector creates those jobs. We are in one of the toughest economies the world has ever seen, and British Columbia is stable and growing.
Premier, thank you.
Thank you, Stephen. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.